everybody. This is Terry over here at Berkeley Glass. We're going to do a slight tutorial today on how to cut some window glass. Made easy, is really no big deal. Get a lot of questions all the time on what tools we use to cut window glass. A lot of people think it's some kind of saw. A lot of people are really confused on just how simple it really is to cut yourself a piece of glass. I'm going to show you the easiest way to do this. Most of our stock sheets, when it comes to single strength and double strength glass, which is basically single strength is like a 1/16 size glass, and double strength is basically a 1/8 inch thick piece of glass. And most stock sheets come in a 48 by 60 stock sheet. We're going to make it easy today since I have cutoffs. I need to cut two pieces today, 17 1/4 by 17 1/4. Now, basically all you need is a tape measure, glass cutter, and some people like to use Sharpies to mark their sizes, like so, 17 1/4, they'll come over 17 1/4 and mark it. That's fun and all, but you don't get exact. You won't get exact because the Sharpie itself is almost an 1/8 inch wide or so. I have a certain way I like to do it. I'm going to show you today. This here is the square. This is the square. This is what you use to make a straight line. And let's demonstrate. First off, this is a 17 1/4 by 17 1/4. What I like to do is find your edge, you run it on by, you lock it. You don't got to worry about it moving. You come over here to your 17 1/4. What I like to do is my wheel is very thin. It's maybe a 32nd inch, if that thick. I'll find my 17 1/4 mark on my tape measure, and I just basically score it, just a hair. Don't put too much pressure on it because you can break the glass. Come over here and do the same thing at the top. 17 1/4, mark it. Very simple, very easy. And then you've got your square. So what your square does is you take it off to the bottom edge of your glass, you find your mark, and you keep it off the mark about as wide as it is from the edge of your head here to the center where your wheel is. That way when you run it alongside the square, you get a good straight cut and you're on your mark, and that's important. Especially when you're cutting window glass, a 1/16 of an inch too big, it won't fit in the frame, and that's a big problem. And cutting a 1/16 of an inch off of a piece of glass is really hard without breaking it. It's very difficult. So what I've got it, because I can eye it up, I've got it at the right distance up front and the right distance down here in the bottom, and I'm going to go ahead, hold it nice and secure, and I'm going to score my glass. Start at the top, and you hear it. When you hear that sound, you know you got a good score. Take it off the edge of the glass, hold it like here, hold it on the other side of the score, and pop it. That side is 17 1/4. Basically want to do the same thing all over again. Since this is a 17 1/4 inch square. Not all of them's like that. Usually both sides are different than the other, and you would just cut accordingly. So let's see. Here's my 17 1/4 mark. It's right there on the tape measure. I'm going to score it like I did the other one, just to mark it. You only have to come up 3/16 or so at that, and just barely hit it, just so you leave a mark behind, because that's what you're going to use to line it up. Do it there, and I'm going to do it here. This is 1/8 inch glass I'm using. I will advise, when you're using a 1/16 inch glass, sometimes you want to be really careful, because if you score it like I did here and here, it has a tendency to break. It can break and it can run, and you really don't want that. So you have to be really gentle when it comes to the thinner stuff. This 1/8 of an inch, it allows you to be a little more aggressive with it. We'll get to the 16 inch window glass another time, but today the customer wants 1/8 inch glass, and the customer is always right, and that's what they're getting today. So here we go. Do the same thing. Just find a good straight edge. Take it, pop it. I'm going to show you another way to do this. So now I got my 17 1/4 and my 17 1/4. We're going to move this one out of the way for now. I got another one I'm going to show you. We're going to go through it again. Let's get this piece of glass over here. Sometimes when you use cutoffs, which I mean by a cutoff is a lot of times we take a stock sheet and we have to cut a big piece out of it that leaves leftover, and a lot of the leftover can be used for smaller cuts. Like this is right here. And as you notice, I don't know if you can see it, but here on this edge, it's got a chip. There's a little chip there. So definitely want to get rid of that. So what we'll do is we'll do our 17 1/4 from this side over this way, cut that off. That way that'll go in the garbage and the customer will receive nothing but a good piece of glass free of errors and defects. So here we go again, 17 1/4 and 17 1/4. I'm going to show you a different way to pop it this time. What I mean when I say pop it is to actually break the excess off of the piece that you're cutting. Now, got both of our marks. We're going to slide the square over here and do the same thing. If you're unsure about your cut, there's no reason you can't take and line this up with a square and with your mark. And when you get that, you know you're good. Do the same thing up here, and you know you're good. I can eyeball it, but a lot of times when you're starting out, you don't know how to do that. So you can move the square to where it helps you with the head of the cutter, where everything lines up perfectly. Let's see, I'm looking here. Everything looks good from top to bottom. So now I'm going to take my cutter, and you can hear it scoring really well. And this is what I'm going to do. You can come around here, take the glass to the edge of the table. That way my score is basically barely on the table and the rest of it is overhanging. And you can lift it up and pop. That's another way to do it if you're not sure about breaking the glass off in your hand. But after you do it a million times, you know what you can and can't do. So that was my first 17 1/4. We're going to go over here. We're going to mark it at 17 1/4 again. 17 1/4. $17 1/4. Get that out of the way. Get your straight edge. Do the same thing. Come over here, line it up. After you do it as many times as I've done over the course of 30 odd years or so, don't ask me how old I am. You kind of get a feel for the best way to do this. So as you see, I got my lines lined up, got my cutter scored. When they're really short like this, there's not that much left over from your cut. A lot of times it's best to do it by hand. Just like that. Anyway, that's the basic tutorial on how to cut glass and the tools you need. Here at Berkeley Glass, we're here for all your glass needs. We do commercial, residential, we do tabletops, mirrors, almost anything if it's glass related, we got you covered. Anyway, I'm Terry, over here at Berkeley Glass in Martinsburg, West Virginia, and we appreciate you watching. Have a great day.